In the shadows of a crumbling marriage, a devastating secret comes to light. One wife, one decision, and a promise that shatters the very boundaries of loyalty. When Ethan uncovers Emily's bold plan to become a surrogate for her twin sister, his world collapses. Can Ethan stand firm against the storm of betrayal? Or will he be swept into a whirlwind of secrets and unimaginable consequences? A tale of love, rage, and boundaries pushed to the breaking point. Are you ready to uncover the truth? Welcome to Addy Story, where we share real-life stories that touch the heart and inspire the soul. Subscribe now to join our community, relax, and dive into the stories we have for you. Enjoy. My soon-to-be ex-wife, Emily, and I remain bound by the fragile threads of a legal contract, but the truth is far more complex. The air is thick with unspoken tension, as the inevitable unraveling of our union looms ever closer. In our world, a cruel clock ticks relentlessly, forcing a separation of 12 long months before the chains of marriage can finally be shattered. Each passing day feels like an agonizing stretch, a drawn-out torment that only prolongs the inevitable end of a once vibrant union. In the midst of this chilling cooling-off period, she was tasked with the daunting challenge of securing her own place nearby, a desperate attempt to facilitate the fragile balance of 50-50 custody of our 3 precious children. What has led us to this heart-wrenching moment of separation? In a twist of fate that could change everything, Rachel, Emily's twin sister, unveiled a shocking proposition. Emily should become their surrogate. The air thickened with tension as the weight of the decision loomed over them, each heartbeat echoing the gravity of what lay ahead. In the shadows of their seemingly perfect life, Rachel and her husband, Michael, grapple with a heart-wrenching battle, the desperate longing for children that remains just out of reach. I understand now. The pieces have fallen into place. How utterly unfortunate for them. Yet in a twist of fate that defied all reason, they chose not the conventional path of surrogacy or adoption, but rather a choice steeped in complexity and moral ambiguity. The very essence of their decision hinged on the fact that Rachel and Emily were twins, leading them to the chilling conclusion that Emily was the ideal vessel to bear their child. What could possibly be more devastating? It wasn't until much later that the chilling truth of the plan revealed itself to me, shrouded in shadows and whispers, leaving me reeling in disbelief. Little did I know, a sinister plot had been brewing in the shadows for weeks, long before I ever caught a hint of its existence. They never took the time to sit across from me, to engage in a meaningful dialogue. Instead, shadows loomed, and silence filled the air, heavy with unspoken words and unanswered questions. Absolutely not. That would have been far too rational. That night, as shadows danced around us, Emily dropped the bombshell with an unsettling nonchalance, as if the weight of her words held no significance at all. The memory is etched in my mind, vivid and unyielding, as if it were a scene from a haunting play, each moment steeped in tension and uncertainty. We were perched on the edge of the couch, the air thick with unspoken tension, when she suddenly unleashed the truth, shattering the silence like glass. As she scrolled through her phone, a storm of thoughts brewed beneath her calm exterior. I could sense the weight of her contemplation, a pivotal decision looming just beyond the surface, yet she spoke as if we were merely debating dinner options. What was she planning for Rachel? The air thickened with unspoken tension, and I couldn't shake the feeling that this was no ordinary conversation. In that fleeting moment, My eyes met hers, a silent exchange charged with unspoken tension. What crucial revelation lies beneath the surface? At last, she raised her gaze, the weight of the moment hanging heavily in the air. The moment I utter those words, a storm brews within me. I'm going to be her surrogate. The weight of this decision hangs heavy in the air, charged with anticipation and uncertainty. What lies ahead is a path fraught with challenges, a journey that will test the very limits of my resolve. The stakes have never been higher, and the outcome remains shrouded in mystery. Will I emerge victorious, or will the shadows of doubt consume me? Only time will initially, a flicker of disbelief coursed through me. I was convinced she was merely jesting. A breath escaped my lips, a half-laugh trembling in the air, as I stood on the precipice of anticipation, heart racing, waiting for the punchline that could shatter the silence. Yet her gaze pierced through the air, heavy with an unspoken demand, as if she believed joy was the only response I could muster in that moment. Hold on, what just happened? I straightened my posture, a sudden tension coursing through me. Are you truly prepared to bear their child? She nodded, a smile playing on her lips, as if the weight of the world had just shifted in her favor. Indeed, the clock has been ticking for Rachel and Michael, their hopes entwined in a desperate dance of anticipation. As identical twins, the bond runs deeper, making it feel as though Rachel is nurturing a piece of herself, a life that echoes her very essence. The weight of longing hangs heavy in the air, a silent promise waiting to be fulfilled. A chill coursed through me, as if the very ground beneath my feet had vanished, leaving only an abyss of uncertainty. Emily, are you truly serious? When did this shocking revelation even surface? With a subtle yet defiant motion, she shrugged, as if the weight of the world rested on her shoulders, yet she refused to be crushed beneath it. Weeks had slipped by, each moment thick with anticipation, as we found ourselves ensnared in a web of whispered conversations, the air crackling with unspoken tension. My gaze locked onto hers, a whirlwind of thoughts crashing through my mind as I struggled to comprehend the weight of her words. And you chose to keep it from me? How could you? Emily let out a heavy sigh, her phone slipping from her grasp and landing with a soft thud on the table, the weight of unspoken words hanging in the air. Ethan, you must understand. This is far beyond your own concerns. It is my body, my choice, a declaration that echoes through the shadows of uncertainty, a battle cry in the face of overwhelming odds. The weight of this truth hangs heavy in the air, charged with the tension of 1,000 unspoken fears and desires. Will I stand firm against the tide, or will the world's relentless pressure bend my will? The stakes have never been higher, and the outcome remains shrouded in mystery. Permission? I scoff at the very notion. The chains of approval will not bind me. I am a force unto myself, unyielding and resolute. Is permission truly granted, or is it merely an illusion, hanging in the air like a whispered secret waiting to be unveiled? The tension thickens, the stakes rise, and the question lingers, echoing in the shadows of uncertainty. Emily, we are bound together in a union that defies the very fabric of fate. This is a monumental choice, a turning point that will reverberate through both our lives. How could you possibly keep this from me until now? With a heavy sigh, she cast her gaze upward, her eyes swirling with a tempest of frustration and disbelief. Listen closely, for what I am about to reveal could change everything. Oh, how splendid! Now, as the shadows close in and the weight of your decision hangs heavy in the air, you stand resolute, having already made up your mind. That is not the way the intricate dance of marriage unfolds. Her expression transformed into a steely mask, concealing the tempest brewing within. Ah, I anticipated this moment, the very instant your emotions would surge to the surface. That is precisely why I lingered in the shadows, biding my time. Yet here we are, Ethan. It is unfolding before our very eyes. Regardless of your allegiance, the stakes have never been higher. I exhaled sharply, my head shaking in disbelief, as the weight of the moment pressed down on me. And so it comes to this. Either I step into the unknown, or face the chilling consequences that await me in the shadows. She crossed her arms, a silent storm brewing within her as the tension in the air thickened, leaving an unsettling anticipation hanging like a dark cloud overhead. Perhaps it's time to reconsider everything we thought we knew. And there it was, lurking in the shadows, a presence that sent shivers down the spine, waiting to reveal its secrets. The final demand loomed, heavy with unspoken consequences. Her silence spoke volumes, a chilling whisper that hung in the air, heavy with unspoken truths. Join us now, or face the consequences. My mind raced, disbelief clawing at the edges of my sanity. A shadow loomed over the surrogacy, a dark cloud of unease that gnawed at my insides, whispering secrets I dared not confront. Indeed, that was a monumental piece of the puzzle. The chilling realization struck me like a thunderclap. Everything had been orchestrated in the shadows, a sinister plot unfolding without my knowledge. Emily, Rachel, and Michael had woven their intricate web of deception for weeks, perhaps even months, without so much as a whisper of their treachery reaching my ears. And now, I was expected to simply accept it? How could I? The weight of the moment hung heavy in the air, a storm brewing just beneath the surface, ready to unleash chaos at any moment. My gaze lingered on her, the air thick with unspoken tension, as time seemed to stretch into eternity. The moment you take that step, everything between us will shatter into oblivion. Her face contorted in a tempest of frustration, a storm brewing behind her eyes. How can you be so utterly unreasonable in this moment of turmoil? I laughed, yet the sound echoed with an unsettling tension, a mask for the turmoil brewing beneath the surface. Am I truly the one being unreasonable? Emily, you stand on the precipice of a life-altering decision, and yet you seem oblivious to my presence, my thoughts, my very being. How can you plunge into this abyss without even a glance back at me? Do you truly believe that's not a problem? She shook her head, a storm of frustration brewing within her, the air thick with unspoken words and tension that crackled like electricity. In a world shrouded in uncertainty, I am embarking on a mission of profound significance for my sister, a gesture that promises to unveil beauty amidst the shadows. I believed you would grasp the depths of my feelings. I rose to my feet, my fingers tangling in my hair, a storm of thoughts swirling within me. Indeed, it seems that I do not. As the days turned into weeks, and the weeks into months, a chilling revelation awaited just around the corner. What could possibly unfold next? She carries a secret, a life stirring within her, poised on the brink of revelation. As Emily's words hung in the air, I felt a chill run down my spine. I nodded, a mere gesture masking the turmoil within, and then, with a heavy heart, I turned and exited the room. Each step, echoing the weight of unspoken truths. Just 2 days later, I took the irrevocable step of filing for divorce, sealing our fate in a moment that would forever alter the course of our lives. It was the very week that my wife unveiled her shocking plans that I put pen to paper, a draft born from the turmoil brewing within me. The air was thick with anticipation as I stood on the precipice of uncertainty, my heart pounding in my chest. I could feel the weight of her intentions hanging in the balance, each passing moment stretching into eternity as I waited for her to finally unleash her carefully crafted plans. What would she do? The suspense was unbearable. It sent ripples of disbelief through the crowd, leaving them gasping in stunned silence. Emily feigned ignorance, her expression a mask of calm, yet beneath the surface, a storm brewed. How could she not have sensed the impending chaos? It leaves me utterly astounded. Did she truly believe I was merely playing a game of deception? That I would somehow, without warning, accept the unfathomable reality of my wife carrying another man's child, as if it were a mere flick of fate's cruel hand? I warned her with every ounce of conviction, detailing the dire consequences that awaited her should she dare to proceed with this reckless decision. And now, she dared to feign surprise? Rachel and Michael found themselves ensnared in a web of turmoil, their fates intertwined in a dance of despair. They unleashed a torrent of guilt, weaving a web of emotional manipulation, each cliché more suffocating than the last, as they desperately sought to bind me to their will. "You're abandoning your wife," Rachel declared, her voice trembling with disbelief as she shook her head, casting me as the villain in this unfolding tragedy. In this critical moment, her very survival hangs in the balance, and your unwavering support is the lifeline she desperately seeks. A harsh, bitter laugh escaped my lips, echoing in the silence like a haunting specter of despair. It was her decision, a fateful choice that would echo through the corridors of time, leaving shadows in its wake. Not me, never me. Michael, ever the master of persuasion, braced himself for the storm that was about to unfold, his words a fragile shield against the impending chaos. "Ethan, what she is doing for us is nothing short of breathtaking, a gesture that stirs the very depths of our souls. Can't you feel the weight of it all, looming in the shadows, begging for your attention?" "Oh, I see it," I said, my arms crossing tightly, a chill creeping down my spine. In the shadows of desire, a choice was made, a choice that would forever alter the course of their lives. Emily, with a heart full of hope and trepidation, stepped into the unknown, ready to embrace the miracle that awaited. But what secrets lay beneath the surface of this decision? The air crackled with anticipation as the weight of their dreams hung heavy in the balance. Without a word, they plunged into the depths of uncertainty, leaving me in a storm of confusion and betrayal. What you see before you is not a marriage. It is a facade, a mere illusion cloaked in the shadows of unspoken truths and hidden betrayals. That is far from a partnership. That was a choice she made, one that would echo through the corridors of fate. And now she must confront the harrowing aftermath of her choices. Rachel's eyes narrowed, a storm brewing within their depths. In the shadows of uncertainty, you made a solemn promise to remain by her side, come what may. In that moment, she swore an oath to honor me, to never again weave the threads of fate without my knowledge, casting shadows over our shared destiny. I fired a retort, sharp and unyielding. And thus, we find ourselves at this pivotal moment. And thus, it was sealed. An ending that echoed with unspoken truths and lingering shadows. The moment I filed the paperwork, a chilling silence enveloped the air, marking the beginning of an irrevocable separation. In the beginning, Emily wore a mask of indifference, concealing the tempest of emotions swirling beneath the surface. She clung to that self-righteous demeanor as if she were perched high above the chaos, untouched and untouchable. "I don't need you," she declared, her voice slicing through the silence of the night, a chilling finality hanging in the air after I had insisted that our conversation was over. "I can face this challenge alone, no matter the cost." It was a moment charged with unspoken tension, and I could hardly contain the weight of my words. "Great," I declared, the air thick with anticipation. "Then do it." The moment hangs in the air, thick with anticipation, as the decision looms before you like a shadow waiting to be cast. Will you take the plunge into the unknown? The clock ticks, each second a heartbeat echoing in the silence, urging you forward into the abyss of possibility. Yet, as the months slipped away like shadows in the night, the relentless grip of reality began to close in around her. In an instant, her unwavering confidence began to waver, leaving her teetering on the edge of uncertainty. She felt the grip of uncertainty tightening around her, a shadow creeping into the corners of her mind, whispering that she was losing her hold on everything she once commanded. Once I took the fateful step to file for divorce, an oppressive tension enveloped the house, thick and suffocating, as if the very walls were closing in around us. Emily donned a mask of normalcy, her demeanor a chilling facade that suggested nothing had shifted. She expected me to feign interest in her pregnancy, to step into a role I never signed up for, as if the world around us hadn't crumbled into chaos. In that moment, I felt a chilling detachment wash over me, as if I had slipped into a shadowy abyss, leaving reality behind. Why would I pour my heart and soul into a life that I cannot claim as my own? A pregnancy that could shatter everything we once held dear, the very catalyst for our impending separation? She remained, a silent figure in the shadows, her presence heavy with unspoken tension. The search for a place in our area loomed like a dark cloud overhead, a daunting challenge made even more perilous by the weight of impending motherhood. She insisted, time and again, that her desire to remain close was solely for the child's benefit, but the tension in her voice hinted at a deeper, unspoken truth lurking beneath the surface. Yet, if we peel back the layers of this facade, the truth reveals itself. Her motives were steeped in convenience, a chilling revelation that lurked beneath the surface. In the shadows of her expectations, she called upon me, as if I were bound by an unbreakable vow, to fulfill the role of her husband, even when the weight of her demands threatened to consume me. On a fateful night, she stepped into the dimly lit living room, where I sat entranced by the flickering screen, unaware of the storm that was about to unfold. Will you dare to venture to the store for me, braving the unknown that lies ahead? My gaze remained locked on the screen, unyielding, as if it held the very secrets of the universe within its glow. For what purpose, you ask? What lies beneath the surface of this question, shrouded in mystery and anticipation? The answer hangs in the air, thick with tension, waiting to be unveiled. In the dim light of the pantry, a solitary jar of pickles sat, its glass surface glistening ominously. The air was thick with anticipation, as if the very essence of the cucumbers held secrets waiting to be uncovered. What lay within those briny depths? A crunch, a tang, a taste that could change everything. The moment was electric, and the choice hung heavy in the air. Would you dare to twist the lid and unleash the mystery inside? And perhaps a scoop of ice cream, a sweet temptation lurking in the shadows of desire. A hollow laugh escaped my lips, echoing in the silence like a ghostly whisper of despair. Indeed, that responsibility has slipped through my fingers, leaving only shadows of what once was. She let out a heavy sigh, a sound laced with disbelief, as if my demands were utterly unfathomable. Ethan, please, you must listen. It's merely a fleeting journey, but the shadows whisper of secrets yet to be uncovered. With a heart pounding like a war drum, I finally turned to face her, the air thick with unspoken tension. Emily, the truth hangs heavy in the air between us. I am no longer your husband. Seek out Rachel or Michael. Their involvement is crucial. Time is of the essence, and the weight of this task hangs in the balance. Will they rise to the occasion? The answer lies in your next move. Her jaw clenched, a storm brewing behind her eyes, yet silence enveloped her like a shroud, heavy with unspoken words. In a moment that felt suspended in time, she pivoted on her heel, her silhouette fading into the shadows, leaving behind an air of unspoken tension. As the weeks dragged on, she began to weave a tapestry of subtle hints, each thread revealing the weight of her struggles, the shadows of her burdens growing darker with every passing day. The weight of the moment was unbearable. The weight of solitude bore down on her, a relentless burden that she had to shoulder all by herself. Initially, I chose to dismiss her presence, brushing aside the unsettling feeling that crept into my mind. What could she possibly have anticipated? Was I truly destined to swoop in and be the hero once more, just as I had during her past pregnancies? Those were our children, the very essence of our hopes and dreams, now caught in a web of uncertainty that sends shivers down our spines. This is it. The moment hangs in the air, thick with tension, as the weight of uncertainty looms. Every heartbeat echoes like a drum, a countdown to the unknown. What lies ahead? The answer teeters on the edge of revelation, waiting to plunge into the depths of fate. Will it be salvation or despair? Only time will tell, and time is running out. The weight of the moment hung heavy in the air, a decision forged in the depths of their bond, a choice that would alter the course of their lives forever. It was solely theirs, a pact sealed in silence, echoing with the gravity of what lay ahead. I never agreed to this twisted fate that has ensnared me. Gradually, the whispers of discontent crescendoed into bold, unmistakable grievances. The weight of uncertainty hangs heavy in the air, a chilling reminder of your absence. How can I possibly navigate this treacherous path alone? The shadows loom larger, and the silence is deafening. Without you, every step feels like a leap into the unknown. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the room, she whispered those words, her hand gliding over her belly in a desperate, almost frantic gesture, as if that simple act could ignite a flicker of concern within me. My eyes flickered momentarily from the glow of the screen, a fleeting moment of awareness in the shadows of my focus. Summon Rachel at once. Summon Michael now. With a heavy heart, she released a sigh that echoed her mounting frustration, a sound that seemed to linger in the air, thick with unspoken tension. Alone in the shadows, I grapple with the weight of an unjust fate. The silence is deafening, and the burden feels insurmountable. Why must I face this tempest without a single ally by my side? I shut my laptop with a decisive snap and turned my gaze toward her, the air thick with unspoken tension, unyielding. A balance struck, yet the tension hangs thick in the air, as if the very fabric of justice is about to unravel. Do you truly wish to delve into the depths of what is fair? It feels utterly unjust that such a monumental decision was made in my absence, leaving me in the shadows of uncertainty. Yet, against all odds, we find ourselves standing at this precipice. In that moment, silence enveloped her like a thick fog, leaving her utterly unprepared, her mind racing, yet devoid of clarity. The weight of uncertainty hung heavy in the air, a question lingering like a shadow, and she found herself trapped in a web of unspoken truths, with no answer to escape the impending darkness. She pressed her lips together tightly, her gaze drifting away into the shadows, as if the weight of unspoken words hung heavily in the air. Over and over, I found myself repeating the words, each utterance heavy with urgency, as if the very fate of our world hung in the balance. In the dim light of their shared dreams, Rachel and Michael stood at the precipice of a life-altering decision, their hearts racing with anticipation. They were the ones who yearned for this baby, a fragile hope that could shatter or elevate them to unimaginable heights. They were the architects of grand promises, weaving tales of how extraordinary this surrogacy journey would unfold. Yet shadows loomed over their words, hinting at a truth far more complex than the shimmering facade they presented. Let them rise to the challenge. Yet they remained elusive, slipping through the shadows, always just out of reach when the moment demanded their presence. Michael, in that moment, appeared to be slipping away from the very fabric of reality, his gaze distant and unfocused, as if he were already lost in a world far removed from the chaos surrounding him. He arrived just in time for the moment that would change everything. The ticking clock echoed ominously as the day of reckoning approached. Doctors' appointments loomed on the horizon, shrouded in uncertainty and dread. A solitary journey, fraught with the weight of responsibility, as I embark on an errand that revolves around the fragile essence of new life. Yet, in the relentless march of time, what unfolds in the shadows of each passing day? Vanished without a trace. One fateful night, driven by an insatiable curiosity that gnawed at my mind, I turned to Emily and whispered, "Where has Michael been hiding lately?" He was meant to be fully committed, but now doubt creeps in like a shadow, whispering secrets of betrayal and uncertainty. She shifted uncomfortably, her voice barely a whisper. "He's been taking care of Rachel." The weight of her words hung in the air, thick with unspoken tension. She lingers in the shadows of her past, the echoes of the car accident haunting her every step as she fights to reclaim her life. With a heavy heart, I conceded the truth of the matter. Yet deep down, he was acutely aware that this moment was inevitable, lurking just beyond the horizon. Wasn't he supposed to have foreseen this moment? The weight of uncertainty loomed over him, a shadow creeping closer with every passing second. Emily's expression hardened, a storm brewing behind her eyes. He fights against the odds, pouring every ounce of his strength into the struggle, determined to rise above the shadows that threaten to consume him. He stands on the precipice of despair, burdened by an overwhelming tide of stress that threatens to engulf him at any moment. I let out a derisive scoff, a sound that echoed with disbelief and disdain, reverberating through the tense air around me. "Is that so? But are you truly not?" Her silence spoke volumes, a chilling echo that resonated deep within me. She fought against the truth clawing at her heart, but the undeniable reality loomed before her. Michael's priorities had shifted, and the shadows of doubt began to creep in. He stood at the precipice, the weight of his decision heavy in the air. An easy escape lay before him, a tantalizing path beckoning him to freedom. And yet, he was poised to seize it, the thrill of the unknown coursing through his veins. Meanwhile, Emily's pressure intensified, each moment weighing heavier on my shoulders. It felt as though an invisible weight had been thrust upon me, a burden I never asked for, compelling me to shoulder the responsibility that others had so carelessly abandoned. She began to whisper requests, each one seemingly innocent, yet laden with an unspoken weight that hung in the air like a storm cloud ready to unleash its fury. With each heavy bag of groceries, the weight of responsibility pressed down on him. He meticulously arranged the crib, every piece a promise of new beginnings. And when she winced in pain, he was there, his hands gentle yet firm, offering solace in the midst of uncertainty. With each encounter, I silenced her, the weight of my decision hanging heavy in the air. "Ethan, I implore you, can you assist me with this urgent matter? Absolutely not. Not my child, not my concern. But what if the shadows lurking in the corners of indifference come to claim us all? What if the silence speaks volumes, echoing with the weight of unspoken truths? The stakes are higher than they seem, and the darkness waits for no one." On that fateful night, the tension reached its breaking point. She perched on the edge of the couch, her fingers tracing circles over her belly, each sigh a haunting echo in the stillness. A desperate plea for my gaze to meet hers. The silence hung heavy in the air, a palpable tension that crackled like electricity. I fought against the urge to acknowledge her presence, to let her words seep into my consciousness. But the moment came, inevitable and haunting, when she finally broke the stillness, her voice slicing through the quiet like a knife. "You know," she said, her voice dripping with irritation, a storm brewing just beneath the surface. "Even now, in the shadows of uncertainty, you remain my husband. Could you not even muster the pretense of concern?" That was the moment everything changed. In that fleeting moment, everything shattered. I lost control, and the world around me blurred into chaos. Absolutely not. The bond we once shared has shattered into a million pieces. I am no longer your husband, not in any way that truly holds significance. I rose to my feet, the weight of my words hanging in the air like a storm about to break. "Your decision to betray me in the shadows has sealed your fate. Do not approach me now. Not when the weight of your realization bears down upon you, heavier than you ever imagined it could be. Summon Michael at once. Dial Rachel's number now. Reach out to anyone else, for the shadows are closing in. But do not involve me in this perilous web." Her face twisted in anguish, and in an instant the floodgates opened, unleashing a torrent of tears. That had morphed into her instinctive response, a reflex that surged forth whenever fate conspired against her. Yet, in that moment, I found myself untouched, impervious to the chaos swirling around me. "I'm going to bed," I declared, my voice devoid of warmth, as I turned my back on her. The sound of her sobs echoed in the dimly lit room, a haunting reminder of the turmoil left in my wake. The following weeks unfolded with an eerie familiarity, each day blending into the next, shrouded in an unsettling monotony that hinted at something lurking just beneath the surface. With every attempt, she wove a web of guilt around me, her eyes pleading, her voice a haunting echo of desperation. Yet I stood my ground, a fortress against her relentless pleas, shutting her down time and again, each refusal a silent battle in a war of wills. It transcended mere boundaries, a struggle that loomed larger than life itself, an intricate dance of self-preservation and revelation. It was a matter of unwavering conviction, a battle fought not just in the shadows, but in the very depths of the soul. The moment I considered offering even the slightest assistance, a chilling realization gripped me. Emily would interpret it as a crack in my armor, a signal that I was beginning to relent. And then, the silence hung heavy in the air, a palpable tension that seemed to stretch time itself. What lay ahead was shrouded in uncertainty, a cliffhanger that beckoned for resolution. The question lingered, electrifying the atmosphere, as if the very universe held its breath, waiting for the next revelation to unfold. Then, I would be forever trapped beneath the weight of her relentless demands. Everything changed in an instant when the baby entered the world. I remained on the sidelines, an unwilling spectator to the chaos unfolding around me. I avoided the hospital, shunning the sterile halls and the whispers of despair. I didn't visit, didn't reach out, nothing. The silence was deafening, a heavy weight pressing down as I chose to remain in the shadows, untouched by the turmoil that gripped everyone else. The warning had been issued, a clear proclamation of my intent to remain distant. Yet the shadows of uncertainty loomed, and she had chosen to ignore the signs. Did she truly believe I would waver? The tension hung thick in the air, a silent promise of the storm that was about to unfold. Yet amidst the sterile walls of the hospital, her voice trembled through the phone, laced with desperation and sorrow, pleading for my presence. "Ethan, I implore you. I can't face this darkness by myself," she cried into the phone, her voice trembling with despair. A chilling dread grips my heart, tightening its hold with each passing moment. I maintained a voice that was steady, resolute, as the tension in the air thickened around me. "You made the fateful choice to entangle yourself with a man who was not bound to you by vows. The weight of that decision rests solely on your shoulders. So do not attempt to pull me into this tangled web of consequences. Michael has left an undeniable mark on your life. It's time to reach out to him before the weight of this secret consumes you." She released a breath, trembling with uncertainty. I did. He's not answering. The silence stretches, heavy and foreboding, as the seconds tick by. What could be happening? Where is he? The uncertainty gnaws at the edges of my mind, a dark shadow creeping closer with each unanswered ring. Then summon Rachel. Reach out to your mother, for the shadows of uncertainty loom large. Will her voice bring solace or stir the tempest within? The moment hangs in the balance, waiting for your decision. This is their burden to bear, not mine to shoulder. "You're being cruel," she whispered, her voice trembling, heavy with the weight of unshed tears, as shadows danced around them, thickening the air with tension. A heavy sigh escaped my lips, echoing the weight of unspoken thoughts that lingered in the air. "Absolutely not, Emily." I stand resolute, bound by my promise, unwavering in the face of uncertainty. You were acutely aware of my position long before the storm began to brew. Silence hung in the air, thick and suffocating. She didn't respond, leaving a chilling void that echoed with unspoken words and unfulfilled promises. In an instant, the line fell silent, leaving an eerie void that echoed with unspoken dread. As she stepped through the door, cradling the tiny bundle in her arms, the air thickened with tension. Little did she know, this was just the beginning of a storm that would unravel everything she thought she knew. It was as if she believed that the mere presence of the baby in the house would conjure a spark of emotion within me, igniting a flame of care that had long since flickered out. But alas, it did not unfold as one might have hoped. She began to scatter baby items throughout the house, each one a haunting reminder of what was to come. Bottles litter the kitchen, diapers sprawled across the couch, a sinister game of psychological warfare unfolding before my eyes, daring me to confront the undeniable truth lurking in the shadows. Yet, I held back, resisting the urge to succumb. With a heavy heart, I cautiously navigated the chaos that lay before me, each step a reminder of the turmoil that lingered in the air. I pressed on, determined to carry on with my day, but the weight of the mess haunted my every move. As darkness enveloped the world, an unsettling dread crept in, amplifying the horrors that lurked in the shadows. The piercing wail of the baby echoed through the silence, a haunting sound that sent shivers down my spine. And then, like clockwork, there would be a frantic knock on my door, each rap a desperate plea that filled the air with tension and uncertainty. "Ethan, I implore you, just this once, will you come to my aid?" she begged, her voice trembling with fatigue as desperation clung to her every word. "Absolutely not." With a sharp exhale, she released a breath heavy with frustration, the tension in the air thickening around her. "For the love of all that is holy, the clock strikes 3 in the dead of night. Days have slipped through my fingers like grains of sand, each moment stretching into an eternity of wakefulness. Your child, your burden to bear. Now, confront the storm that awaits you." The weight of the world pressed down on me, anchoring me to the sheets, as if the very fabric of my existence conspired to keep me from rising. I lay there, trapped in a cocoon of uncertainty, the shadows of the day looming ominously outside my window, whispering secrets I dared not uncover. The stillness was deafening, a prelude to the chaos that awaited beyond the confines of my sanctuary. Not my child, not my concern. But what if the shadows, lurking in the corners of indifference, begin to creep closer? What if the consequences of that detachment come knocking at your door, demanding attention? The weight of apathy can be a heavy burden to bear when the stakes are higher than you ever imagined. The air hung heavy with tension, a suffocating silence enveloping the room. Suddenly, the sound of her footsteps echoed ominously as she stormed away, each step a thunderous declaration of her fury, reverberating down the hall like a warning bell. The following day, she unleashed her fury upon the cabinets, each slam echoing like thunder, while her whispered curses painted me as the villain in this unfolding drama. In the shadows of my mind, guilt crept in, whispering its haunting doubts, threatening to unravel the very fabric of my resolve. Not because I believed I was at fault, but because the child, pure and untainted, stood as a beacon of innocence amidst the chaos that surrounded us. In the shadows of chaos, a child stood alone, burdened by the weight of a world unraveling around them. The turmoil of their parents' lives cast a dark cloud, but the innocent heart bore no blame. What fate awaited this young soul in the midst of such turmoil? Yet, deep within me, a chilling realization gripped my heart. Intervening would only plunge us deeper into chaos. It would merely serve to bind Emily to me, shackling her to my presence, while the true guardians of this child, the ones who yearned for this life, remain in the shadows, longing and waiting. The moment hung heavy in the air, a palpable tension crackling between us as Emily's voice sliced through the silence, her demand echoing like a thunderclap. It was the final straw, the point of no return, and I could feel the weight of her words pressing down on me, igniting a storm of uncertainty within. What would happen next? The stakes had never felt higher. This is not a moment you can simply ignore. The weight of reality bears down upon you, relentless and unforgiving. In the dim light of that fateful evening, she erupted, her eyes blazing as she stood before me, the weight of the world and the baby cradled in her arms. Alone in the shadows, I bear the weight of the world on my shoulders, and it feels so unjust. Every task, every burden is mine to carry, while the silence around me grows deafening. Where is the help I so desperately need? The isolation gnaws at my spirit, and the unfairness of it all threatens to consume me. My gaze remained fixated on the screen, oblivious to the world around me. Then summon Michael. The air thickens with anticipation, as the weight of the moment hangs heavily in the silence. I did. Once more, he finds himself entangled with Rachel, the air thick with unspoken tension. I shrugged, a fleeting gesture that belied the storm brewing within me. Not my baby, not my burden to bear. Her eyes ignited with an intensity that could pierce through the darkest of nights. Your selfishness knows no bounds, a dark shadow that looms over everything we once cherished. The weight of your debt hangs heavy in the air, a palpable tension that cannot be ignored. You owe me this much, and the reckoning is drawing near. That seized my very soul. I cast my laptop aside, locking eyes with her fierce glare, a silent battle of wills igniting between us. I owe you nothing, I declared, my voice steady yet laced with an undercurrent of tension. You are acting as if I betrayed you, she screamed, her voice echoing with raw emotion. I rose to my feet, my voice trembling with intensity, and declared, It matters not to me if you shared your bed with your child's father, or if betrayal was your choice. Your betrayal cuts deep, a wound that festers with the knowledge that you chose another, carrying the weight of a life that should have been ours. Beware, for I have foreseen the shadows that loom ahead. I warned you. I stood resolute, defiant in my opposition, fully aware that the shadows of consequence loomed ominously ahead. You asserted with fervor that it was your body, your choice. A declaration that echoed through the silence, heavy with consequence. At this moment, the weight of my existence hangs in the balance, and the power to shape my destiny lies solely in my hands. The weight of this task rests squarely on your shoulders. Face the storm head on. That was the moment everything changed. In that heart-stopping instant, she shattered into a million pieces. You're a heartless monster, she spat, her voice trembling with fury and despair. There will come a moment, a haunting realization, when you will look back and feel the weight of your choices crushing down upon you. The echoes of your decisions will linger, and regret will seep into your very soul. She stormed off, her footsteps echoing like thunder in the silence, and for a fleeting moment, I dared to believe that was the end of it all. But then, an hour later, she emerged once more, a bag ominously slung over her shoulder, the baby swaddled tightly in her arms, as if the very air crackled with unspoken tension. I can't do this, she whispered, her voice trembling with fear and uncertainty. Not while you continue to behave this way. I simply nodded, the weight of unspoken words hanging heavily in the air. Her gaze pierced through the silence, lingering with an intensity that suggested she believed I might intervene, that I held the power to alter the course of fate itself. I did not. 2 days later, Emily vanished with the baby, and a surge of hope coursed through me. Could this be the turning point I had been desperately waiting for? Deep down, I knew the truth. Her absence was merely a prelude to a far more sinister return. Yet, for a fleeting couple of days, an eerie silence enveloped the house, as if it held its breath, waiting for something to shatter the stillness. Silence enveloped the room, a haunting stillness where the echoes of a crying baby once lingered. Guilt hung heavy in the air, but it was absent now, leaving only a chilling void. Arguments that once ignited the atmosphere had faded into whispers of the past, leaving behind an unsettling peace that felt anything but safe. In that moment, an immense burden shattered, releasing a surge of relief that coursed through me like a tidal wave, leaving me breathless and trembling in its wake. Yet, inevitably, simplicity slips through the cracks whenever Emily enters the scene. The call pierced the silence of the next morning, shattering the calm like glass underfoot. First it was her mother, a whisper of betrayal that sent chills down her spine. Then came her sister, the dagger of deceit twisting deeper into her heart. Indeed, it is the very sister who orchestrated this entire chaos, entwining even her sister's husband in the web of deceit. It felt as if they had orchestrated a relentless assault, each move calculated to strip away my resolve. Each and every one of them echoed the same chilling refrain, their voices weaving a tapestry of unsettling uniformity. Emily stood at the precipice of despair, the baby's wide, innocent eyes reflecting a world of uncertainty. I felt the weight of responsibility pressing down on me, a relentless tide urging me to rise and confront the shadows for the sake of our fragile family. Rachel, her twin sister, was a force of nature, unyielding and fierce in her pursuit. Her voicemail lingered in the air, thick with an unsettling condescension that sent shivers down the spine. Each word dripped with a chilling disdain, leaving an ominous weight that hung heavily in the silence that followed. "I cannot believe how heartless you are, Ethan," she hissed, her voice cutting through the silence like a knife. In the shadow of new life, Emily lay exposed, her heart racing with the weight of her recent ordeal, and in that harrowing moment, you vanished, leaving her to grapple with the storm of emotions and fears that threatened to engulf her. How could you turn your back when she needed you most? Is this truly the essence of your being? Is there even a flicker of a soul within you? A bitter laugh escaped my lips as I swiftly erased the message, my heart racing with the thrill of silence. No response would be given. The weight of unspoken words hung heavy in the air. What was the purpose of it all? This was not the unexpected twist of fate we had ever envisioned, a dark shadow looming over our carefully laid plans. This was Emily's fateful choice, a decision that would echo through the shadows of her life, forever altering the course of her destiny. A decision she forged in silence, a decision I had vehemently warned her against, leaving me in the shadows of her betrayal. And then, lurking in the shadows of this unfolding tale, stood Michael, the baby's biological father, a figure shrouded in mystery and unspoken truths. He attempted to weave a web of sympathy, his voice oozing with a veneer of false sincerity, each word a calculated move in a game of shadows. "Man, things are spiraling out of control right now," he whispered into the phone, his voice trembling with urgency. In the shadows of uncertainty, Rachel clings to the fragile threads of her recovery from the harrowing accident, while Emily battles her own demons, each moment steeped in turmoil and desperation. We are bound by blood, by secrets, by the weight of our shared past. This is no ordinary connection. It runs deeper, intertwining our fates in ways we can scarcely comprehend. We are family, and with that comes a darkness that lurks just beneath the surface, waiting for the moment to reveal itself. In a world teetering on the brink of chaos, the call to unite echoes through the shadows. We must stand together, for in solidarity lies our only hope for survival. A chilling wave of disbelief washed over me, and I found myself on the brink of laughter, stunned by the sheer audacity of it all. What is family, if not a tangled web of secrets and unspoken truths, lurking just beneath the surface, waiting to be unveiled? A bond that can either uplift or shatter, depending on the choices made in the shadows of the heart. The very essence of loyalty and betrayal, love and resentment, all intertwined in a dance of fate. What lies beneath the facade? The answer could change everything. I uttered the words again, disbelief coursing through me like a chilling wind. Is this some kind of cruel jest? How can you stand there, feigning camaraderie, when you barely lifted a finger throughout this entire pregnancy? The audacity. Do you truly believe we are some kind of united front? That's not fair, he cried out, his voice trembling with a mix of anger and desperation as the weight of injustice bore down upon him. With every ounce of strength, I am fighting against the tide, pushing forward into the unknown. The weight of uncertainty looms heavy, but I refuse to surrender. I am trying, and the stakes have never been higher. Try harder, I commanded, my voice slicing through the tension like a knife. I had severed the connection, leaving him hanging in the silence that followed. This is not merely a matter of indifference. It is a crossroads, a moment where the weight of choice hangs heavy in the air. The shadows loom, and the stakes rise. This is a declaration, a refusal to bear the burden of another's chaos. The tension crackles, and the silence screams. This isn't my problem, but the consequences ripple like a storm on the horizon. Rise to the challenge, and embrace the responsibility of nurturing your own child. And then, lurking in the shadows, there was Emily's mom. In a twist of fate, the unthinkable happened. She, the voice of reason, found herself standing firmly alongside Emily, a decision that sent shockwaves through the air. What could have driven her to such an unexpected alliance? The tension was palpable, and the stakes had never been higher. As the phone rang, her voice pierced through the silence, laden with a weight of disappointment that hung in the air like a storm cloud, ready to unleash its fury. I just don't understand you, Ethan, she whispered, her voice trembling with a mix of confusion and urgency. Emily remains bound to you as your wife, and the weight of that truth hangs in the air, thick with unspoken tension. No, she's not, I interjected, my voice slicing through the tension like a knife. Though my voice betrayed no tremor, it resonated with an unwavering intensity that commanded attention. In that fateful instant, when she chose to carry another man's child, the very essence of our union shattered, and she ceased to be my wife. If your concern runs so deep, perhaps it is you who should step into the shadows and offer her the aid she desperately needs. The air hung heavy with an oppressive silence, a stillness that seemed to pulse with unspoken tension, as if the world itself was holding its breath, waiting for the inevitable storm to break. Then, a chilling click echoed through the silence as she hung up the phone, leaving an unsettling void in its wake. In that electrifying moment, the realization struck her like a thunderclap. I was resolute, unyielding, and I would not bend to the pressure. A couple of days later, Rachel returned, her presence shrouded in an air of mystery that sent shivers down the spine of those who dared to notice. The moment she stepped through the door, I felt the air shift, heavy with anticipation. I had known this day would come, but nothing could have prepared me for the chaos she unleashed upon my world. She entered the room, her presence heavy with the echoes of the venomous words she had hurled at me moments before, as if the storm of her fury had never passed. The infant was secured tightly against her chest in a carrier, a fragile life nestled close as shadows loomed ominously around them. Her face, a canvas of exhaustion, yet radiating an unyielding defiance. A palpable tension filled the air as I sensed her preparing for yet another fierce confrontation. "We need to talk," she declared, her presence commanding the room as if she were about to unveil a life-altering revelation. My focus remained unwavering, my eyes glued to the task at hand, oblivious to the world around me. What dark secrets lie beneath the surface? This is it. The moment hangs in the air, thick with anticipation, as shadows dance around the edges of reality. What lies ahead is shrouded in mystery, a precipice of uncertainty that beckons with a siren's call. Will you dare to step forward into the unknown? The answer looms, tantalizingly close yet just out of reach, igniting a fire within that cannot be extinguished. With a sweeping motion, she pointed to the infant, as if I were oblivious to the gravity of the moment unfolding before us. The shadows of your silence loom larger with each passing moment, a haunting reminder that you cannot evade us indefinitely. "I'm not ignoring you," I declared, my voice steady yet laced with an undercurrent of tension. My message has echoed through the silence, unmistakable and unwavering. The weight of this burden rests squarely on your shoulders, not mine. That was the spark that ignited her fervent monologue, a tempest of emotions swirling within her as she recounted the relentless struggles of being a single mother. Each word dripped with the weight of injustice, a haunting reminder of the solitary battle she fought against the world, where every burden rested solely on her weary shoulders. Her voice trembled with disbelief as she repeated the haunting phrases, "This isn't what I signed up for," and "I never thought you'd turn your back on me like this." Each word dripped with betrayal, echoing in the charged air, a chilling reminder of the trust that had been shattered. I remained silent, my heart racing as she spoke, each word hanging in the air like a fragile thread, ready to unravel at any moment. What was the purpose of this relentless clash of wills? She wandered through the shadows, her heart racing, not seeking a solution, but rather embracing the chaos that surrounded her. In the shadows of her mind, a tempest brewed, and all she craved was a scapegoat to unleash her fury upon. As she came to a halt, our eyes locked in a tense standoff, I leaned in, my voice low and steady. "You made your choice the moment you chose to bear their child. Do not dare to place the blame on me, as if I am the architect of this chaos." That was the spark that ignited her fury. Her voice erupted like thunder, a tempest of frustration twisting her features into a mask of fury. "Ethan, your cruelty cuts deeper than a knife. You stand on the edge of understanding, yet the depths of my struggle remain shrouded in shadows. You have no inkling of the tempest that rages within me. Do you truly believe this is a walk in the park for me? There will come a moment, a haunting whisper in the shadows, when you will look back and realize the weight of your choices. Regret will claw at your heart, and the echoes of your decisions will reverberate through the corridors of your mind. That day is inevitable. I am certain you will." The piercing wail of the baby shattered the silence, a desperate cry echoing through the air. likely a response to the thunderous shouts that filled the room. She whirled around, her voice slicing through the silence. "Are you really just going to sit there? Take action now." I shrugged, a fleeting gesture that concealed the tempest brewing within me. Not my baby, not my burden to bear. Her face flushed with fury, a tempest brewing within her as she stormed toward the bedroom. The door slammed shut with a deafening crash, reverberating through the very walls, echoing her rage and leaving a chilling silence in its wake. The baby's wails pierced the silence, echoing through the dimly lit room, yet I remained frozen, paralyzed by an unseen force, my heart pounding in my chest. Let her scream and slam doors if she wished, but I would not be the one to bear the weight of her turmoil. No, I would stand my ground against the storm she unleashed. As darkness enveloped the world outside, she resolved to employ a strategy unlike any other. The air crackled with tension, and the shadows whispered secrets of the unknown. As I stood in the kitchen, the aroma of dinner swirling around me, she entered with a facade of calm, her demeanor a stark contrast to the storm brewing beneath the surface. The tension hung in the air, thick and palpable, as she chose to play nice, leaving me to wonder what lay hidden behind her seemingly gentle approach. She leaned against the counter, her gaze fixed on me as I cooked, her voice a whisper laced with uncertainty. "I long for the echoes of the past," she whispered, her voice trembling in the heavy air that hung between them, a silence thick with unspoken memories. The knife sliced through the vegetables with a relentless rhythm, each chop echoing in the tense silence between us. My gaze fixed firmly on the cutting board, refusing to meet her eyes. Only one among us feels that way. With a heavy sigh, she took a tentative step closer, the air thick with unspoken tension. "I mean it, Ethan. This is not a game anymore." My heart clings to the remnants of what once was, an echo of a love that refuses to fade away. Desperation clings to my words as I plead for us to reclaim the bond we once shared, to weave together the frayed threads of our past and emerge as a family once more. A bitter laugh escaped my lips, echoing in the silence like a haunting specter. Could it be a family? A web of secrets, ties that bind, and shadows lurking just beneath the surface. What lies behind the facade of unity? The heart races at the thought of what could unfold. The truth waits, poised to reveal itself in a moment of reckoning. I turned to her, my eyebrow arching in silent inquiry, the air thick with unspoken tension. Once, they were a family, bound by love and secrets, their lives intertwined in a delicate dance of trust and betrayal. You discarded it, didn't you? She swallowed hard, her eyes shimmering with unspoken fears, a storm brewing within them. A grave error has been committed. I placed the knife on the table, the cold steel glinting ominously in the dim light, and crossed my arms, a storm brewing within me. Indeed, you did. With a slight nod, she inhaled deeply, her breath trembling as uncertainty loomed around her. "Forgive me, for the weight of my words hangs heavy in the air, a haunting echo of regret that lingers like a shadow in the night." She offered an apology, though it hung in the air like a fragile whisper, teetering on the edge of sincerity. Her voice trembled with regret as she uttered the words, "I'm sorry for how things turned out." Yet beneath the surface of her apology lay a chilling truth. She remained untouched by the weight of her own choices, casting shadows of doubt and betrayal in the air around her. I couldn't bring myself to believe it. "The ship has sailed," I whispered, my voice devoid of emotion, yet heavy with the weight of finality. "The moment has arrived. You have chosen your path, and the weight of that choice hangs heavy in the air. Now, you must confront the weight of your choices, for there is no escaping the shadows that linger in their wake. Her sobs erupted once more, each tremor of her shoulders a testament to the turmoil within. "I don't want to get divorced," she gasped, the weight of her words hanging heavy in the air, a desperate plea echoing in the silence. The weight of the world presses down on me, and I find myself standing at the edge of despair. Alone, I am but a flickering candle in the dark, struggling against the encroaching shadows. I cannot face this battle by myself. I let out a heavy breath, the weight of the conversation pressing down on me like a storm cloud ready to burst. "You don't have to face this darkness alone," I whispered, the weight of the words hanging in the air like a storm about to break. In the shadows of uncertainty, two names echo: Rachel and Michael. Yet those words pierce through the air like a dagger, shattering her hopes into a million fragments. It was not the truth she sought, but a haunting echo of disappointment that lingered in the shadows. In that moment, it became painfully clear. She sought not their assistance, but mine, a desperate plea hidden beneath layers of unspoken tension. She yearned for my arrival, a desperate plea for salvation, as if I were the only one capable of mending the shattered pieces, just as I had done countless times in the past. But this time, everything was different. I pivoted sharply, locking eyes with her, and declared, "You don't truly want a divorce." The weight of my words hung in the air, thick with unspoken tension. It's not love that binds us, but betrayal that cuts deep. You carried another man's child, heedless of my desperate pleas. Each moment echoes with the weight of your choices, revealing the truth of your feelings for me in the most painful way imaginable. You hesitate to sever the ties that bind us, for I am the anchor in the stormy seas of life, providing a semblance of stability that you fear losing. The fear of losing it grips you, tightening its hold with every passing moment. Heed my warning. Embrace the solitude that surrounds you. Learn to navigate the chaos of your own making in isolation. The divorce has been filed, and a shadow looms over the life once cherished. Soon, the echoes of this lifestyle will fade into silence, leaving only memories in their wake. As darkness enveloped the house, I lay in bed, the haunting sound of her sobs echoing from the next room, a chilling reminder of the turmoil that lingered just beyond my reach. A tumultuous wave of uncertainty washed over me. I was caught in a storm of conflicting emotions. The weight of indecision hung heavy in the air, leaving me suspended in a precarious balance, neither here nor there, teetering on the edge of something profound. A chilling void enveloped me, an abyss of silence where emotions once thrived. I was adrift, untouched by the storm of feelings that raged around me, a mere specter in a world alive with passion and pain. Nothingness consumed me, leaving only a haunting echo of what could have been. And in that haunting moment, clarity struck like a thunderclap. I realized, without a shadow of a doubt, it was irrevocably over. The echoes of our once vibrant love had faded into an abyss, leaving only a haunting emptiness in its wake. With each decision, she had unleashed a fiery tempest, reducing everything she once held dear to nothing but ashes. As dawn broke, she summoned every ounce of courage for one final, desperate gamble. She approached me, shadows haunting her gaze, desperation etched across her face, the fragile baby cradled in her trembling arms. "Please," she whispered, her voice trembling with desperation. Just hold her for a little while, so I can finally sleep. For days on end, I have been trapped in a relentless cycle, barely clinging to consciousness with no more than 2 fleeting hours of rest. The weight of exhaustion bears down on me, each moment stretching into an eternity. In that fleeting moment, the weight of temptation bore down on me, and I teetered on the edge of surrender. So close, yet so far. But then a chilling realization washed over me as I reflected on the harrowing events that had brought me to this very precipice. How she had spun her web of deceit. How she had shattered the very foundation of my trust. How she had ensnared me in a web of chaos I never consented to enter. Absolutely not, I declared, my voice steady, yet laced with an undercurrent of tension. Her eyes widened, a flicker of fear igniting within them as the shadows danced around her, whispering secrets of the unknown. What is happening? Summon Michael at once. I revealed the truth to her, a revelation that hung heavy in the air, charged with unspoken tension and the weight of uncharted consequences. He is the Father, the one whose very existence casts a shadow over everything, a revelation that could shatter the fragile peace of their lives. He ought to be by your side, offering his aid in this moment of need. Her expression was one of sheer disbelief, as if I had struck her with a force that left her reeling. Her lip quivered, a storm of emotions raging within her as tears cascaded down her cheeks, each drop a testament to the turmoil she could no longer contain. Your disdain for me runs deeper than I ever imagined, doesn't it? I shook my head, a tempest of emotions swirling within me, as if the very air crackled with unspoken tension. My feelings for you are far more complex than mere hatred. I spoke, my voice unwavering, cutting through the tension like a knife. But I refuse to be ensnared by your manipulative tactics, not this time. I will not be the one to bear the weight of your chaos. The weight of this burden has become unbearable, and I can no longer wear the mask of obligation. The time for pretense has come to an end. Once more, she vanished into the shadows, leaving behind an echo of uncertainty and a heart full of unanswered questions. And this time, I sense an ominous finality in the air, as if the very fabric of fate has woven itself into a tapestry of irrevocable change. Later, a call from her mother shattered the silence, revealing that Emily had taken refuge with her for the time being. I whispered to her, a heavy weight in my chest, that perhaps it was for the best. The air crackled with unspoken tension, and I could feel the shadows closing in around us, as if the very walls were listening, waiting for the truth to unravel. Perhaps, at long last, I could seize the elusive tranquility that has long evaded me. 3 days after Emily vanished for the second time, an eerie calm descended, cloaking the chaos in a deceptive stillness. The house lay in an eerie silence, a stillness that sent shivers down the spine. But beneath that calm facade, a tension simmered, thick and palpable. A relentless, haunting sensation gripped her, whispering that an unseen force was lurking just beyond the shadows, poised to strike. It hung in the air, a heavy silence, thick with anticipation, as if the world itself was holding its breath, waiting for the tempest to unleash its fury. And I was not mistaken. Just a week after she vanished from his life, the letters and emails began to arrive. Each one a haunting reminder of her presence, each word dripping with unspoken secrets and unresolved tension. Emily's family, a formidable presence, gathered with an intensity that crackled in the air. Far beyond the ordinary guilt trips and the insidious web of emotional manipulation lies a darkness that threatens to consume everything in its path. It was a familiar scene, yet the intensity of full-blown arguments sent shivers down my spine. It felt as though they were unleashing an unrelenting storm, each wave crashing over me, determined to erode my resolve with their overwhelming force. In a twist of fate, Emily's mother unleashed a torrent of words upon me, a lengthy letter that pierced through the silence. She painted me as the villain, accusing me of being unreasonable, of neglecting the sacred bond of family. Her words echoed with urgency, demanding that I rise to the occasion, to confront the shadows of my choices. The weight of her message hung in the air, thick with tension and unspoken truths. She spoke with a fervor that pierced the air, recounting the relentless struggles that had haunted Emily's childhood, the countless sacrifices made in the shadows of despair. Her voice trembled with urgency, as if the weight of those memories demanded my unwavering support in this pivotal moment. With a heavy heart, I scanned the pages, let out a deep sigh, and with a final, resolute motion, I cast it into the abyss of the trash, as if sealing away a secret too burdensome to bear. What was I meant to do with that? The weight of uncertainty hung in the air, thick and suffocating, as the question echoed in my mind, demanding an answer that eluded me. They spoke, but their words hung in the air, stale and familiar, echoing like a haunting refrain that refused to fade away. From the very start, they had boarded the sinister train of villains, and now all that remained was a cacophony of chaos, drowning out any hope of redemption. In stark contrast, Rachel and Michael chose a path fraught with tension, their intentions clear, yet shrouded in uncertainty. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting eerie shadows across my living room, the doorbell rang. I opened it to find Michael standing there, his presence unexpected and unsettling, as if he had emerged from the depths of a forgotten nightmare. As I swung the door open, the sight of him standing there, all awkward and uneasy, sent a chill down my spine. In that moment, a dark premonition gripped my heart. I knew this encounter was destined for disaster. "Hey, man," he uttered, his voice trembling as he fought to mask the tension that hung in the air. "Shall we engage in a conversation?" I pressed my back against the doorframe, arms crossed tightly, as the tension in the air thickened around me. What could possibly lie beneath the surface of that simple question? The air thickens with anticipation, as if the very fabric of reality is holding its breath, waiting for the answer that could change everything. What secrets are hidden in the shadows, waiting to be unveiled? The stakes are high, and the tension is palpable. What awaits us on the other side of that inquiry? Only time will tell. He shifted uneasily, caught in a silent battle between the urge to step inside and the instinct to flee into the shadows. At last, he released a heavy sigh, the weight of the world pressing down upon him. Whispers of a fragile life, a heartbeat echoing in the silence. The world holds its breath. The baby, a symbol of hope and uncertainty, teeters on the edge of destiny. What secrets lie within this tiny being? The air thickens with anticipation as shadows loom and the future hangs in the balance. It encompasses all that exists, a vast expanse of uncertainty and intrigue. I stood frozen, my heart pounding in the silence that enveloped me. Speak the words that tremble on the edge of your lips, for they hold the power to change everything. Let the silence shatter as you unleash your truth into the air, where it hangs heavy with anticipation. What will you reveal? What secrets lie in wait, ready to ignite the moment? The time has come. Do not hold back. His eyes widened in disbelief, a flicker of hope igniting within him, as if he dared to believe that I might actually extend the invitation he so desperately craved. Absolutely not. He began to unravel, his words spilling forth like a torrent, each syllable heavy with the weight of his struggles since Rachel's tragic accident. The burden he carried was palpable, a desperate plea for assistance as he fought to keep his life from spiraling into chaos. His eyes, filled with urgency, locked onto mine, begging for support in this dark hour. "For Emily's sake," he whispered, the weight of his words hanging in the air like a storm cloud ready to unleash its fury. "For the sake of Emily." I interrupted him, my voice sharp and unwavering. My voice cut through the air like a knife, and I watched as he recoiled, a flicker of fear crossing his face. "This is a matter that does not concern me in the slightest. That is your child, the very essence of your being, the heartbeat of your existence. Your wife's sister, with a knowing glint in her eye, accepted this pact, fully aware of the dark implications it carried. What brings you to this place, shrouded in uncertainty? What secrets do you seek, lurking in the shadows of your presence?" His expression was a whirlwind of confusion and anxiety, a storm brewing just beneath the surface. The stakes are far higher than anyone could imagine. It's never been merely about the baby. It's a tale woven with the threads of blood and betrayal, where the bonds of family are both a sanctuary and a battleground. Secrets lurk in the shadows, waiting to unravel the very fabric of loyalty. In this world, every whispered word could ignite a storm, and every choice could lead to salvation or ruin. The stakes are high, and in this moment, an invisible thread binds us all, weaving a tapestry of fate that no one can escape. A hollow, mirthless laugh escaped my lips, echoing in the tense silence that enveloped us. "Absolutely not." He parted his lips, a storm of words brewing within, but I silenced him before the tempest could escape. It was a betrayal that cut deep. Rachel, Emily, and you, plotting in the shadows, weaving a web of secrets while I remained blissfully unaware. The weight of your deception loomed over me like a storm, ready to unleash its fury. You cast me aside, and now you dare to act as if I owe you anything at all? Face the truth. He attempted to plead his case, but I stood resolute, unwavering in my decision. "Leave," I commanded, my voice echoing as I retreated into the shadows of the house. "And do not dare return unless you are prepared to face the consequences of your actions and claim full responsibility for your child." His heart raced at the response, a storm of frustration brewing within him. Yet the weight of inevitability pressed down, leaving him with no other option but to comply. He lingered for a heartbeat, his jaw clenched in a silent storm, then hissed a warning that sent chills down my spine. How I would come to regret this. With that, he turned, his silhouette fading into the shadows, leaving an unsettling tension in the air. Perhaps I shall. Perhaps I shall not. Regardless of the outcome, the burden does not rest upon my shoulders. Meanwhile, Emily remained at her mother's, and for a fleeting instant, a glimmer of hope ignited within me. Perhaps, just perhaps, she was beginning to unravel the tangled web of secrets that surrounded us. But alas, it was not to be. In a chilling twist, she began to wield the children as pawns in her dangerous game. On a fateful night, her voice trembled through the phone as she asked if she could come over, a simple request that would unravel the fabric of their lives forever. With a heavy heart, I acquiesced, knowing they were still her flesh and blood. The weight of the decision loomed over me, a silent promise to not sever the ties that bound them to her, no matter the storm that raged within. Yet, as she stepped into the room, a chilling realization washed over everyone. Her presence was no mere coincidence. She had a hidden agenda, and the air crackled with unspoken tension. As the shadows deepened outside, she poured out her heart, her voice trembling with the weight of her struggles. The relentless cries of the baby echoed in her mind, robbing her of precious sleep, leaving her teetering on the edge of despair. She pleaded for a lifeline, a glimmer of hope to pull her from the abyss and help her rise once more. Then she unleashed the devastating truth. She hesitantly broached the tantalizing notion of returning to the fold, a suggestion that hung in the air like a storm cloud, heavy with unspoken implications. Only until she could unravel the tangled web of uncertainty that surrounded her. I extinguished that notion without hesitation. Absolutely not, I declared, with an icy finality. The moment has arrived, and the weight of your decision hangs heavy in the air. You made your choice, and now the consequences loom like shadows in the night, waiting to unveil their true nature. You dare return to this place, pretending as if the past has been erased? The air crackles with unspoken tension, and the shadows whisper of betrayal. This is no mere homecoming. It is a reckoning. Her brow furrowed, a silent storm brewing within her gaze, as if she were desperately searching for salvation. Ethan, this is far more than just my story. The children are lost in a world of uncertainty, their hearts aching for the warmth and comfort only their mother can provide. Time is slipping away, and with each passing moment, the shadows grow longer, deepening their despair. Will she return before it's too late? The clock ticks ominously, echoing their silent cries for her presence. They possess their mother, I declared, a chilling certainty lacing my words. In the shadows of uncertainty, the truth looms heavy, echoing in the silence. You are still their mom, Emily, yet that does not imply I must allow you to return to this space, to invade my sanctuary once more. She released a sharp breath, her frustration palpable in the tense air around her. It's a cruel twist of fate, an injustice that hangs heavy in the air, suffocating us all. How can this be? For them, for me, this is a betrayal of the highest order. You're tearing our family asunder. A derisive laugh escaped my lips, echoing in the silence like a thunderclap, shattering the tension in the air. It was you who set this in motion, wasn't it? You made the fateful decision to shatter our marriage for the sake of your sister. You have no right to don the mask of the victim in this twisted tale. It was a moment that pierced the air, the first time I beheld the raw fury igniting in her gaze. Until that moment, a heavy shroud of sadness enveloped me, entwined with the relentless grip of guilt and the gnawing frustration that clawed at my very soul. Yet this was unlike anything before. Her gaze pierced through me, a chilling accusation that branded me as the most despicable creature to ever walk the earth. One day, you will come to regret this, she hissed, her voice dripping with foreboding. I swear to you, with every fiber of my being. With a fierce determination, she seized her belongings and erupted from the room, the door crashing shut in her wake, echoing her fury. The weeks that followed unfolded with an eerie calm, a deceptive stillness that hung in the air, leaving a sense of foreboding lurking just beneath the surface. As I navigated the stormy seas of uncertainty, I clung to a fragile routine with the kids, determined to weave a tapestry of stability amidst the chaos that threatened to engulf us. At times, they would whisper her name, their voices trembling with a mix of longing and uncertainty, as if the shadows of their memories held secrets yet to be uncovered. Why was she not living with us? The question hung in the air, heavy with unspoken truths and lingering shadows. Why had everything changed so drastically? I delivered my answers with a chilling simplicity, each word a carefully crafted piece of a larger unseen puzzle. Mom and I are navigating the stormy seas of uncertainty, each decision hanging in the balance, fraught with tension and unspoken fears. Yet, amidst the shadows of uncertainty, our hearts beat with an unwavering passion for you, a love that defies the very fabric of time and space. It was a truth cloaked in shadows, a whisper of deception that lingered in the air, tantalizing yet treacherous. My love for my children burned fiercely, an unquenchable flame that consumed my every thought. I could sense it in Emily as well, a love that twisted and turned in the shadows, revealing itself in her own enigmatic manner. Yet, the undeniable truth loomed over us like a dark cloud. We were irrevocably on divergent paths, each step taking us further into the unknown. She had woven her fate, and I refused to step into the tangled web she had spun. Yet an undeniable realization washed over me. A profound sense of liberation enveloped me in her absence, as if the weight of the world had been lifted from my shoulders. For the first time in years, I felt a weight lift from my shoulders, a sense of liberation coursing through me. No longer was I tiptoeing around the chaos of her drama, no longer ensnared in the web of her turmoil. The air was thick with a newfound freedom, and I could finally breathe. In the shadow of uncertainty, it was just me and the kids, navigating the treacherous waters of life, each day a new challenge, each moment a test of our resolve. And in that moment, an exhilarating rush surged through me, igniting a fire within that I could no longer ignore. And then, the storm of legal turmoil descended upon them. As the divorce proceedings officially commenced, a dark and tangled web of secrets began to unravel, threatening to expose everything hidden beneath the surface. In a chilling courtroom showdown, Emily's lawyer unleashed a barrage of accusations, attempting to cast me as the villain in this unfolding drama. With each word, they painted a picture of betrayal, alleging that I had turned my back on her in her darkest hour, leaving her to navigate the storm of motherhood alone. My lawyer unleashed a torrent of undeniable truths, each one striking like a thunderclap in the silence of the courtroom. The revelation struck like a thunderclap, shattering the fragile illusion of parenthood. The baby, with its innocent gaze, was not mine. A chilling truth loomed, casting shadows over every moment, every heartbeat. What secrets lay hidden in the depths of this betrayal? The air thickened with tension, and the world around me began to unravel. In that moment, I stood at the precipice of choice, the weight of my indifference pressing down like a storm cloud ready to unleash its fury. I had no obligation to help, yet the air crackled with unspoken tension, urging me to reconsider the path before me. In a moment that would forever alter the course of our lives, Emily resolved to pursue the surrogacy, heedless of my fervent protests. The chaos swirled around me, a tempest of uncertainty, yet an unsettling calm settled within. I felt an inexplicable confidence, as if I were standing on the edge of a precipice, ready to embrace whatever darkness lay ahead. The truth loomed like a shadow, lurking just behind me, and I clutched the weight of my evidence tightly, ready to unleash it at any moment. Messages, whispers, echoes of the past, I possessed them all. Every shred of evidence loomed ominously, revealing that Emily was acutely aware of her actions, that I had laid my boundaries bare from the very beginning. Yet, even armed with the undeniable truth, the weight of the struggle was utterly draining. Just when I believed I had finally escaped the relentless grip of her chaos, another twist emerged from the shadows, ready to ensnare me once more. Her family relentlessly pursued me, their desperate pleas echoing in my mind. Each message a dagger aimed at my conscience, urging me to mend the rift that threatened to consume us all. Even Rachel and Michael dared to intervene, as if they possessed the authority to dictate the course of my existence. I turned my back on them all, the weight of their stares heavy upon my shoulders, a silent storm brewing in the air around me. The weight of Emily's chaos loomed over me like a dark cloud, and I had finally reached my breaking point. No more. I would not be drawn back into the abyss of her turmoil, not this time. Amidst the chaos and turmoil, a singular truth emerged from the shadows. I was finished. Free from the shackles of remorse. The strings have been cut. The games are over. No more will I be a pawn in this twisted play. The time for deception has ended. Exhausted by the relentless turmoil that never seems to fade. After what felt like an eternity of chaos, a flicker of hope ignited within me, as if I had seized the reins of my own destiny once more. Despite the relentless tug of Emily and her family, their desperate attempts to draw me back into their world only fueled my resolve. I would not be ensnared again. This was my moment, the pivotal turning point that could alter the course of my life forever. A chance to rise from the ashes, to reconstruct my existence brick by brick, to hone in on what truly mattered, my children, my own joy, and a future untainted by the wreckage of another's choices. The weight of the past loomed large, but the promise of a new beginning beckoned with an irresistible allure. For the first time in what felt like an eternity, the tantalizing promise of the future loomed just beyond the horizon, beckoning with an irresistible allure. After weeks of relentless turmoil, I finally caught a glimpse of the life that awaited me, free from the suffocating grip of Emily's unending chaos. It was far from perfect, a precarious tightrope walk between the demands of work, the urgent needs of my children, and the relentless chaos of the divorce that loomed over me like a storm cloud, threatening to unleash its fury at any moment. Yet, a flicker of hope ignited within, as if the tides were finally turning, leading them toward an uncertain yet promising horizon. In the shadowy corners of their home, Emily clung to her mother, a fragile lifeline in a world thick with unspoken tension. Each moment spent together was a delicate dance, a fleeting reprieve from the storm brewing just beyond their walls. Though she clung to her visitation days with the children, a fragile peace hung in the air, teetering on the edge of chaos. Each encounter was a tightrope walk, where the slightest misstep could plunge everything into turmoil. On a fateful visit, the children returned, their voices trembling with urgency, whispering tales of the baby that sent shivers down spines and ignited a fire of curiosity in the air. With a heart pounding and a breath caught in my throat, my youngest, eyes shimmering with innocence and wonder, gazed up at me, a question hanging in the air like a fragile thread. Is the baby going to live with us someday? I inhaled deeply, each word weighing heavily on my tongue, as if the very air around me crackled with tension. No, but, I whispered, my voice barely breaking the tension in the air, the baby is staying with Aunt Rachel and Uncle Michael. The weight of my words hung heavily, a fragile promise wrapped in uncertainty. My oldest cast a dark shadow of discontent across their face, but mother claimed she had given birth to the child. Could it be that it resembles our little brother in a way that sends shivers down our spines? A shiver coursed down my spine as I rubbed the back of my neck, the tension coiling tighter with each passing moment. How do you unveil the intricate tapestry of surrogacy to the curious minds of children? How can you convey the truth that their mother's decisions were never a reflection of their worth, all while treading carefully, avoiding the shadows of blame? The weight of this revelation hangs heavy in the air, a delicate dance between honesty and compassion, where every word could tip the balance into chaos. With a steady breath, I recounted the moment, my voice a fragile thread in the heavy air, as I revealed how my mother had played a pivotal role in ushering the baby into existence. Yet, it stands apart from the time she brought you into this world. The arrival of this baby is a fate that will not intertwine with our lives. He belongs to the enigmatic clan of Aunt Rachel and Uncle Michael, shrouded in secrets and whispers. My oldest nodded slowly, a facade of comprehension masking the turmoil within. I could almost hear the gears grinding, struggling to make sense of the chaos swirling in their mind. Yet, my youngest remained restless, a storm brewing beneath the surface of their discontent. But why does the baby not resemble us at all? My heart raced as I grappled with the words, desperately seeking a way to unravel the tangled web of thoughts that swirled in my mind, each one more elusive than the last. In the shadows of uncertainty, I spoke with caution, for the truth loomed heavy in the air. Grown-ups often tread paths that defy our wildest expectations. Yet, amidst the chaos and uncertainty, it is you and your sibling who hold the very essence of my heart. No matter the trials that lie ahead, your bond is the anchor that keeps me grounded in this storm of shadows. They held their silence, yet I sensed the weight of the unspoken words lingering in the air, a haunting reminder that the conversation had etched itself into their minds. It lingered in my mind, haunting me for days on end. In the shadows of my existence, a tempest brewed, demanding my attention. My own life, a chaotic puzzle, awaited resolution. The divorce was a tempest, tearing through the very fabric of their lives, leaving nothing but chaos and despair in its wake. The weight of financial burdens loomed heavy, threatening to consume everything in its path. In the dimly lit courtroom, tension hung thick in the air as Emily's lawyer, a fierce advocate, pressed for spousal support. With every word, he painted a vivid picture of her struggles, claiming that the weight of motherhood rendered her unable to work. The stakes were high and the outcome uncertain as the gavel loomed ominously overhead. She made this choice, I declared, frustration boiling within me as I sat across from my lawyer in the dimly lit office, the weight of the moment pressing down like a heavy fog. How could this be happening? I never consented to any of it, and now she demands payment? The weight of betrayal hangs heavy in the air, and the stakes have never felt higher. My lawyer's gaze was intense, each page turned with a deliberate slowness that heightened the tension in the air. They are relentless in their pursuit, but we stand firm, armed with a formidable case that could turn the tide. The child you hold in your arms is not of your blood. The truth looms like a shadow, ready to unravel everything you thought you knew. It was a surrogacy agreement, one she had entered into with a heart full of hope and trepidation, unaware of the storm that would soon engulf her life. In the shadows of uncertainty, She clings to the fragile threads of hope, bolstered by the unwavering presence of her sister and brother-in-law, their support, a beacon in the encroaching darkness. It was as if every boundary I erected was merely a challenge for Emily, a test of my resolve. No matter how firmly I stood, she wove her insidious threads, drawing me closer into her web, relentless in her pursuit to ensnare me once more. She would reach out, her calls and texts piercing through the silence like a siren's wail, always at the most unexpected moments. Each message dripped with urgency, a plea for salvation in her latest turmoil, demanding that I abandon all else to rush to her aid. It was a seemingly ordinary afternoon at work, when suddenly, my phone erupted with a buzz that sent a jolt through my veins. The caller ID flashed her name, igniting a surge of anticipation and dread within me. The weight of indecision hung heavy in the air, a palpable tension that gnawed at my resolve. I could feel the relentless ring of her calls echoing in my mind, a siren song that promised no peace until I finally answered. What secrets lay behind that persistent tone? What urgency drove her to reach out, again and again? I knew deep down that ignoring it would only prolong the inevitable confrontation. The choice loomed before me, dark and foreboding. With a heavy heart and a breath that trembled on the edge of uncertainty, I finally responded. "What is it, Emily?" The air thickens with tension, a storm brewing in the silence that hangs between us. My heart races, each beat echoing the unspoken dread that lingers in the shadows. What revelation awaits? What truth lies hidden, ready to shatter the fragile calm? The moment stretches, heavy with anticipation, as I await your answer, knowing it could change everything I inquired, my heart racing as I prepared for the inevitable storm that was about to unfold. Her tears fell like rain, each drop a testament to the storm raging within her heart. "Ethan, I find myself standing at the edge of a precipice, uncertainty swirling around me like a tempest. What path should I take? The weight of the unknown presses down, and the shadows of doubt loom large. The clock is ticking, and the weight of responsibility hangs heavy in the air. With each passing moment, the reality sinks in. I cannot afford daycare for my precious baby. The urgency to find work grows more intense, a relentless pressure that propels me into a daunting search for a lifeline. Time is not on my side, and the stakes have never been higher. I implore you, lend me your hand, if only for a fleeting moment, until I can rise once more from the shadows of uncertainty." My jaw tightened, a storm brewing within me. "Emily, the weight of this burden is not mine to bear. Rachel and Michael are your only hope in this unfolding drama. You made this choice, yet here I stand, alone in the shadows, knowing they cannot come to my aid in this moment of desperation." She erupted, her voice heavy with pent-up frustration, a storm brewing in her eyes. You have no idea of the storm raging within me. I released a slow breath, a desperate attempt to maintain my composure amidst the rising tension. "Emily, do you truly grasp the weight of your expectations? You stand there, demanding that I mend the chaos you've sown, all because the fallout of your choices has become too unbearable to face. The tension hangs thick in the air, a storm brewing between us, as I wonder, will you ever confront the reality of your own making? The time for this charade has come to an end. I refuse to continue down this path any longer." In the stillness that enveloped the line, a chilling, bitter laugh pierced through the tension, echoing like a haunting specter in the darkness. "Your heart is as cold as ice, Ethan." Just as the words were on the tip of my tongue, the line went dead. She had hung up on me, leaving a chilling silence in her wake. My gaze locked onto the screen, a shiver coursing through me as I shook my head in disbelief. Just 5 minutes later, a new message emerged, this time bearing the weight of her mother's words. How could you possibly betray the very woman who brought your children into this world? The weight of your choice hangs heavy in the air, a chilling reminder of loyalty shattered. What a shocking revelation it is to discover that the man I once believed to be honorable is nothing more than a facade. The truth cuts deeper than any blade, leaving me to question everything I thought I knew. How can you wield such cruelty with such ease? A sharp, humorless laugh escaped my lips, perfectly timed, echoing in the tense silence that enveloped us. In that pivotal moment, I found my voice and unleashed my response. It was a revelation that struck me like a thunderclap. Your daughter, a woman so twisted in her desires, would betray her own flesh and blood, sacrificing her children and family for the sordid embrace of her brother-in-law. The depths of her betrayal are unfathomable, leaving a chilling silence in its wake. Cease your incessant chatter about decency, you wretched soul, and put an end to your relentless messages. What began as a mere occurrence soon spiraled into an unsettling pattern, one that would haunt the shadows of their existence. Emily found herself ensnared in a treacherous roadblock, and rather than confronting it head-on or seeking solace in the company of Rachel and Michael, she chose to pull me into the swirling chaos of her predicament. In the beginning, I maintained a facade of politeness, my words laced with an unwavering firmness, each response a calculated move as Emily and her family sought to ensnare me in the tangled web of her troubles. As the days turned into nights, a chilling revelation crept into my mind, whispering that all my efforts were in vain, leading me to a haunting conclusion that there was no point at all. No matter how meticulously I laid out my reasoning, they would contort my words, painting me as the villain in a story I never intended to tell. In the end, I found myself paralyzed by silence, choosing to retreat into the shadows, leaving unanswered questions hanging in the air like a thick fog. The weight of her desperation hung in the air, thick and suffocating. I could feel her eyes boring into me, a silent plea wrapped in a shroud of manipulation. But I stood firm, resolute in my decision. No, it wasn't my responsibility to rescue her from the abyss she had created, and I refused to let her weave a web of guilt around my conscience. The choice was mine, and I would not be swayed. In the shadows of our tumultuous encounters, there lingered fleeting moments when a pang of sympathy for Emily pierced through the chaos, leaving me breathless with uncertainty. With each fleeting glance, she appeared increasingly frail, as if the heavy burden of her decisions was relentlessly closing in, ready to consume her whole. In the tense silence of our custody exchange, she paused, her eyes flickering with uncertainty before the words finally escaped her lips. May I steal a moment of your time, just the two of us? There's something urgent that needs to be whispered in the shadows, she inquired, her voice laced with an urgency that hung in the air like a storm cloud, ready to unleash its fury. With a heart pounding in my chest, I hesitated for a fleeting moment. Then, as if compelled by an unseen force, I nodded. Indeed, without a doubt. We distanced ourselves from the children, and she inhaled sharply, her gaze averted, as if the weight of unspoken words hung heavily between us. I just wanted to say, "I'm sorry," she whispered, her voice trembling with the weight of unspoken regrets. for everything. The weight of my mistakes hangs heavy in the air, a haunting reminder of the pain I've caused you. In that moment, I believed I was making the right choice, but the weight of uncertainty loomed over me like a dark cloud, ready to unleash its storm. A chilling silence enveloped me, leaving me utterly paralyzed, my mind racing as I grappled with the weight of the moment. What could I possibly say in response to such a revelation? The air thickened with tension, and uncertainty loomed like a dark cloud overhead. A flicker of hesitation coursed through me, battling against the weight of unspoken words. The air thickened with tension as I contemplated the truth. It was far too late for apologies. One part of her mind screamed in agony, questioning why she had failed to foresee the storm that would follow her reckless decision. The weight of her choices loomed ominously, casting shadows over her every thought. Yet in that pivotal moment, all I could do was nod, a silent agreement shrouded in uncertainty. I uttered those words with a weight that hung in the air, a fragile hope teetering on the brink of uncertainty. Her eyes flickered with unspoken words, a tempest brewing within, yet I seized the moment, denying her the opportunity to unleash the storm. The thought of reopening old wounds sent a shiver down my spine, a haunting reminder of the past I desperately wanted to leave buried. Yet, the shadows whispered, beckoning me closer to the edge of a precipice I had long since avoided. The weight of her guilt and regret hung heavy in the air, a palpable tension that crackled between us. Yet, I knew deep down that this was her cross to bear, not mine. The shadows of her turmoil loomed large, but I would not be ensnared by them. The divorce unfolded like a storm, chaotic and relentless, leaving both parties battered and weary in its wake. Yet as the dust settled and the echoes of chaos faded, I emerged with the one treasure that truly mattered, the children, my heart's greatest prize. In a stunning turn of events, the court delivered its verdict, a thunderous declaration that echoed through the chamber. I was awarded full custody. Emily, now relegated to mere visitation rights, stood in the shadows, the weight of the moment hanging heavy in the air. It was a sigh of relief, yet the taste of triumph remained elusive, hanging in the air like a storm cloud ready to unleash its fury. In a scenario shrouded in uncertainty, victory slips through the fingers of all involved, leaving only shadows of what could have been. In the shadows of uncertainty, a glimmer of hope emerged, the kind that could change everything. For my children, I would brave any storm, for their future was the only treasure I sought. This was the moment I had longed for, the culmination of every sacrifice and sleepless night. It was the best outcome, but the path to it was fraught with peril, and I would stop at nothing to ensure their safety and happiness. Emily waged a relentless battle to cast herself in the role of the victim, her every move shrouded in a veil of deception. Her lawyer passionately contended that she had made a choice born of pure selflessness, that every action she took was driven by a desperate belief in what she thought was right. Yet the court remained acutely aware of the truth lurking in the shadows. At last, they beheld the truth that had eluded them for so long, the very vision that had haunted my every waking moment. Emily, a tempest of unpredictability, had woven a web of choices that echoed with recklessness. Her actions, devoid of foresight, cast shadows over the lives of our children, whom she sought to manipulate as pawns in her relentless pursuit of desire. As I sat in that courtroom, the air thick with tension, her attorney's voice cut through the silence like a knife. Each word dripped with emotion, painting a vivid picture of her struggles, her unwavering love for the children, and the desperate plea for shared custody. The stakes were high, and the weight of the moment hung heavily in the room, leaving everyone on the edge of their seats. And I'll confess, a flicker of doubt ignited within me, whispering if the judge would truly be swayed by the facade. But then my lawyer rose, a figure of unwavering resolve, and unveiled the truth with a chilling clarity. The instability that had seeped into our lives, the shattered promises that echoed in the silence, the countless moments when Emily had placed her own desires above the needs of our children. With a piercing gaze, he revealed the truth that had been lurking in the shadows. I had been their unwavering guardian for months, while Emily fought a relentless battle to hold her life together, teetering on the edge of chaos. The evidence loomed ominously, whispering secrets that demanded to be unveiled. As the judge's gavel struck down with finality, an immense burden seemed to dissolve, leaving me breathless in the aftermath of uncertainty. The battle for full custody looms ahead, a fierce struggle that will determine the fate of a child's future, shrouded in uncertainty and fraught with tension. Emily would receive her scheduled visitation, but it would be I who held the reins of decision-making, crafting an unyielding foundation, delivering the sanctuary they so desperately craved. I stole a fleeting glance in her direction, and in that heartbeat, it seemed as though the weight of the world was about to break her resolve, tears threatening to spill from her eyes. Perhaps she had woven a web of hope around herself, believing that the court would ultimately champion her cause, that justice would rise in her favor. But at long last, reality had ensnared her in its relentless grip. In the dimly lit hallway, just beyond the courtroom's imposing doors, she approached me, her eyes filled with an urgency that sent a shiver down my spine. "I can't bear for it to be this way," she whispered, her voice trembling with unspoken fears. "My desire to remain intertwined in their lives burns fiercely, an unquenchable flame that refuses to be extinguished." "That choice lies in your hands," I told her, my voice steady yet laced with an undercurrent of tension. "But I will not allow them to be consumed by the impending chaos. If you dare to show up for them, it could change everything. Should the worst come to pass, I will stop at nothing to ensure their safety, no matter the cost." She nodded, tears glistening in her eyes, but I felt an overwhelming urge to escape the moment, to vanish into the shadows before the weight of it all consumed me. The silence hung heavy in the air, a suffocating weight that pressed down on their hearts. Words had fled, leaving only the echo of unspoken truths and the haunting shadows of what once was. In that moment, everything felt irrevocably lost. Now, it's just me and the kids, navigating the shadows of uncertainty, piecing together our lives one precarious day at a time. Challenges loom on the horizon, casting shadows over every step taken. Single parenting is a relentless battle, fraught with challenges that test the very limits of endurance. Yet, for the first time in what feels like an eternity, a fragile calm envelops our home, casting a spell of tranquility that hangs in the air like a whispered secret, teetering on the edge of uncertainty. And that is worth every ounce of struggle I endured. Thanks for watching this story on Addy Story. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, share, and hit that subscribe button so you never miss a new tale. Stay tuned for more, and until next time, take care and keep living your own amazing stories.